every playoff crowd, maximum at Pittsburgh, and a lot to celebrate. The Penguins have won 9 straight, 6 at home. No NHL players ever scored 6 winners in a playoff year. Mario Lemieux has numbers 4 and 5 in this series. Game 1, a fat rebound, stashed in with 13 seconds left in a 5-4 win. Game 2, a beautiful pass from Rick Tocchet, and Lemieux made it 2-1 in the second. The final was 3-1. Tom Barrasso has started all 19 games in goal and has been sensational. 2 more wins to a title. But tonight, the decibels will be up. The noisiest crowd in all of hockey is waiting for Game 3.
Chicago Arena's a great place to play hockey if you're a Blackhawks player, that is. If you're with the visiting team, it's a hostile, unwelcoming place, as the Pittsburgh Penguins are about to find out in Game 3 of this year's Stanley Cup. And if you've been following the series here on Screen Sport, you'll know the Blackhawks need all the help they can get. In Game 1, the Hawks led 4-1, only to blow it as Jaromir Jagr and Mario Lemieux inspired a thrilling Pittsburgh comeback. Game 2 was less dramatic, but 2 goals of blinding speed from the stick of Mario Lemieux saw the Pens take a 2-0 series lead. So the Blackhawks have to get their act together fast. Match commentary on Game 3 is supplied by Bill Clement and Jigs McDonald.
And now the game goes to the hands of referee Don Koharski. He is joined tonight by Kevin Collins and Gerard Gauthier as his linesmen. Veteran of the National Hockey League officiating staff, Don Koharski. It's his first game in the Stanley Cup Finals, and here's your goaltending matchup. Tom Barrasso has dropped his goals against average down to 2.86 with 14 wins and just 5 losses.
And Eddie Belfour for the Chicago Blackhawks was stronger in Game 2 than he was in Game 1. Tom Barrasso has been good throughout the playoffs. Belfour better in Game 2 than Game 1. He's got to get some offense for him, though. 1 goal just will not do it. You have to think that the Hawks need to score at least 4 here.
And tonight's opening faceoff is brought to you by Molson, a part of the NHL tradition since 1957. Molson is Canadian beer, and the Blackhawks get into the Pittsburgh zone immediately. Stefan Matteau playing on the right side, Dirk Graham on the left with Brent Sutter in the middle. The Hawks in the white uniform. Pressuring here is Matteau. Knocks it away from Bernie Roberts. Matteau plays it back to Chelios. He shoots, turned aside in front. His rebound, and Hugh gave it away. Spitz with a shot, and Barrasso's got it in the catching glove.
Well, this is exactly the start that the Chicago Blackhawks wanted, especially against Mario Lemieux's line. Scotty Bowman was not able to get the matchup he wanted because he is the visiting coach. So he declared first. He declared Lemieux's line. At that point, Mike Keenan countered with his good defensive line. Dirk Graham, Stefan Matteau, along with Brent Sutter. And only 2 lineup changes for both teams. Mike Keenan has made 1. Stu Grimson has come out of the lineup. Rob Brown is back in for the Blackhawks. Scotty Bowman does not have Bob Airey tonight. He re-injured his shoulder in Game 2. He was able to take the warm-up here tonight, but he can't play. So he is out, and Dave Mikhailuk is back in for the Penguins.
Let me just mention quickly that the off-ice officials, goal judges, penalty timekeepers, game timekeeper is from Toronto. And through center ice, Ron Francis with a long shot and a glove save by Belfour. This is Frank Coutura playing it up the middle. Noonan gave it to Gilbert, who dumps it into the far corner, but above the glass and on into the seats. 43 seconds into the opening period.
So many people in this city have been confused by Mike Keenan's coaching strategy. They sat here, a lot of them watched on television as Steve Larmer, Chris Chelios, along with Jeremy Roenick, didn't get a lot of ice time in the second half of a game in which the Hawks trailed, and that was Game 2 in Pittsburgh. We're going to put a clock on Chris Chelios' ice time tonight just to see how he is doing. But you can see that his ice time dropped in Game 2 after the first period, which was a good load for Chris Chelios. It went from 12 all the way down to 7 minutes and change in the third.
He is on the bench right now as Busquets plays the right side of the defense and Marchment the left. For Chicago, the Roenick line. Roenick, Goulet, and Larmer together. Penguins trying to come up the board. Marchment held it in. A long shot bounces off the pads of Barrasso, and it's cleared out. Marchment backhands it right in again. Barrasso will leave it for Jim Pack. Pack and Shell Samuelson on defense for Pittsburgh. The forward line is made up of McEachran, Francis, who just missed the pass, and Phil Bourque, who went in late. Bourque takes 2 men, but the Hawks are able to move it up the left side. Here's Roenick across the line with Goulet headed to the front of the net. Jeremy Roenick had his left glove knocked off. Was able to put the puck back in the net. Jumped over Goulet's stick. Michel Goulet looks to Steve Smith at the blue line. Can't get the puck to him because Samuelson was all over him. That's Phil Bourque playing the boards, and it comes outside the zone and recovered now by Chelios. Chelios and Smith on defense. Chelios couldn't get through the Pittsburgh defense. But Callender puts it back to the goal. Shell Samuelson is checked. Here's Hudson trying to get out in front. He does. The shot is turned aside. Steve Smith covers at the point. The puck came outside the line. Caught in deep. Onside called down, have been delayed, and now the whistle. We're 1 minute and 51 seconds into the opening period at Chicago. Boy, Chicago needs a big game from this guy, Jeremy Roenick.
And really, this line of Roenick and Larmer and Goulet is the only line that will not dump in consistently and try to chase. They will work it over the blue line. JR, even though he's 170 pounds, plays like a power forward. He plays a lot bigger than 170.
Scotty Bowman's team has Jock Callender, Gary Herdina, and Dave Mikhailuk as the forwards against this Roenick unit. Larry Murphy skies the puck out through center ice and down into the Chicago zone. This is going to be an icing. Pittsburgh did that very well in the late stages, especially in game number 2 when they won the game 3-1.
Boy, Tom Barrasso has been under the gun already. 3 good scoring chances by the Chicago Blackhawks, and it's in situations like this that guys on the bench and the coaches behind the bench, they know this confirms that they have goaltending that is good enough to take them all the way. When you're tested like that early in a game, you know it's coming at you, and you have to be ready for it. Tom Barrasso has just passed a pretty good test. We've only played 2 minutes here in the first period, but Barrasso has been tested solidly 3 times.
Now the change in the lineups. Brent Sutter has his forward line out for Chicago. Chelios and Smith on defense. This is Chelios taken to the boards by the check of Rick Tocchet. Chelios trying to play the puck in deeper, could not. Recovers at center ice. Pittsburgh changing on the fly as Bateau comes over the line with a pass to Brent Sutter. To Bateau in front, and he couldn't knock it out of the air. Mario Lemieux moves it up ahead. Rick Tocchet coming out on the right wing boards now. 4 Blackhawks back. Tocchett's shot is turned aside, and Chelios is tied up by Tocchet. Chicago able to clear the zone. Murphy with it at center ice. Waits and then shoots it back in again. Chelios takes it in the far corner. Tocchet moving in, knocked it away from him, puts it out in front of Belfour, grabs it and holds on. Chelios and Smith push and shove. Stevens, excuse me, and then Smith in on the play as well. The other Blackhawk defenseman tied up with Tocchet.
While this last Chicago rush has Stéphane Matteau circled, we'll show you Mario Lemieux. He had to get back in, and he is the guy that actually helped out on the play, because you can see Matteau went to the net. And if we stop right here, look at Lemieux dig in. 2 or 3 huge strides, and he was able to intercept it before it even got to Matteau. So Mario Lemieux might not back check all the time, but he can tell when it's time.
Lemieux, Tocchet back at the Pittsburgh bench as Scotty Bowman sends out Brian Trottier with Troy Loney and Jaromir Jagr. Pretty impressive numbers from Mario. Pittsburgh defense will have Roberts on the left side, Murphy on the right. Chicago will counter with Mike Hudson out with Peluso and Lemieux. The defense is Marchment on one side, Justice on the other. The puck dumped in. Roberts had to hustle back for it, got it to the line, and it's cleared out. Ends up just inside the Chicago zone.
Yeah, fans were calling for a penalty there. The Pittsburgh Penguins have to screen for their partners. That means when Gordie Roberts goes back in deep to get the puck, Larry Murphy has to hold up the guy that's coming in to try to get him. A lot of teams against the Blackhawks designate one defenseman to go back into the corners. The North Stars do that against the Blackhawks. And the other defenseman to screen out. Peluso was the guy that was trying to get into forecheck, and he was being held up on the play by Murphy. See 55 for the Penguins get a piece of Peluso here? That is a must. Now the trick is to do it and get away with it. Ideally, Larry Murphy wanted to get his body lined up with Peluso's there, but boy, when the Blackhawks come on the big charge, you got to get him with everything that you can and hope that Don Koharski in this case doesn't call you.
Now Chicago, with this play stoppage, has sent out another forward line. Hudson with Greg Gilbert. Line up in the circle to the left of the net against the Brian Fletcher unit for Pittsburgh. Played just over 3 minutes of the first period. The game hasn't really developed a flow yet. The Penguins get the draw here. Shel Samuelson can't get the shot. In front, and now Yager protects the puck, shoots off the leg in front of the net. Kuchera frees it up. That jumped over Brian Noonan's stick, and Yager knocked it away from him. Roy Loney takes a hit from Kravchuk as he put it back to the goal. This is Frank Kuchera trying to get away from Yager. The pass to Hudson. Hudson plays it around the boards. Gilbert comes to the left wing side. Trying to tip it to the line, but it's cleared up high over the glass and on into the seats. 3.5 minutes have been played in the opening period in Chicago. No score between the Penguins and the Blackhawks. Harry Lemieux, if Pittsburgh wins the Stanley Cup, would appear to have a lock on it now. If it's Chicago, then certainly Chelios, maybe a couple of other candidates. Larmer recovering the puck. Up ice he comes. Across the line. Shoots. Hits the post. Robert Yager sends it through center. McEachran has it across the line. And Stanton's shot went high and wide. They're shooting it now, aren't they? Roenick is bowled into the boards by Samuelson. And immediately Kravchuk is on Samuelson. Big drive at one end. Hits the post. At the other end, misses the iron.
Well, you know how this whole thing started. The Pittsburgh Penguins have to dump and chase once in a while as well. They didn't read well when they came to the Chicago line, try to play, and as a result, we ended up with 2 3-on-2s at different ends. That was the big shot that clanked off the post. Samuelson took his man after the fact. That's Steve Larmer, but Larmer got all of it. And then a little later on the same shift, watch Roenick get dinged by Samuelson. Here's a high look at Steve Larmer's shot. Off the post, and it hit the right side of the post because it was headed to the inside, but it ended up coming out behind Tom Barrasso. So I really think the Penguins have to be careful in this building as well. They are a team that would rather carry than dump, but we mentioned this a lot. There's a time and a place for everything, and if you're reading a situation that is not positive when you come to the blue line, and a 3-on-3 with the Blackhawks standing right up in your face, that's not a good enough situation to try to beat him with the carry. It is for Lemieux and Lager and Stevens. It isn't good enough for Phil Bourque and Sean McEachran and some of the other Penguins.
Yeah, don't learn in this case from the Stars.
Exactly. And it was like the Blackhawks. I mean, Roenick's line tries to carry. They can because they have enough skill. The other Blackhawks realize they're dump and chasers.
Continue to be what got you here, a foot soldier in the cases of players like that. Now play called. Referee Don Koharski indicating that the puck was knocked out of the air with a high stick.
Well, the grinding will pick up in this building because of the lack of space. 15 feet shorter on the length. Greg Gilbert and Rick Tocchet, and you know that the Blackhawks want to do something with Tocchet because he had such an outstanding game, too, in Pittsburgh. Greg Gilbert had the assignment on this one.
They'll be shoulder to shoulder again for the faceoff. Gilbert and Brown in the discussion. Ron Brown to face off against Ron Francis of Pittsburgh. Brown won the draw, and the puck comes outside the line. Hawk set up at center ice. That's Buskus flipping it in. Wide of Barrasso's net. Brown put a pick on Murphy, and that allowed the centering pass from Gilbert. It comes back to Marchment, then jumps away from him. Ron Francis takes the man. His pocket takes the puck. As Stevens opened the pass, the shot blocked by Belfort.
Well, Brian Marchment didn't have much of a choice once the puck got between his skates. He had to try to take his guy, and in this case it was Sean McEachran out of the play, or Ron Francis. See, he takes Francis out of the play, but that leaves it for Rick Tocchet. Marchment only hopes that help gets back, and it doesn't. Tocchet, super little pass over to Kevin Stevens. Problem for Rick Tocchet was because it took a while to get it set up, Eddie Belfour read it all the way, and Belfour with a perfect read was able to slide over and stack his pads up so that Stevens couldn't get it up high. And I think maybe the rolling puck took away from Stevens' ability to shelf that one, to get it up into the top of the net. But give Eddie Belfour some credit. He was a man that was criticized by his coach after game one, said that Belfour was bad on at least 4 goals. Came back, had a solid game 2, didn't get any offense up front, and has been solid in the couple of times the Penguins have challenged him here.
Pittsburgh with only 4 shots on goal, and 2 have been excellent scoring opportunities. Now Chicago winding up. Brent Sutter to Chris Chelios. The outlet is to Matteau. Quickly, 2 Penguins get back. Matteau's shot went off Murphy. Ends up in the corner. Brent Sutter got to it. To Dirk Graham. Off the end boards from Matteau. He is checked, and here's Gordy Roberts for Pittsburgh. Graham right on him as Roberts got it to the line. Kevin Stevens recovers. They defeat Jaromir Jagr up to Mario Lemieux. Jagr handles the puck here. Dropped it, and Stevens with a shot that just went wide. Stevens battles his way back to the net, but Dirk Graham has the puck and starts out with Sutter. Murphy backing up with Roberts as Graham dumps it in. Roberts, a nice job to slow up Brent Sutter in his pursuit of the puck, and the Penguins using the boards to be able to clear it out. Roberts turned sharply, trying to get away from the check of Graham. Out and outside the line, and now it's brought back in by Jeremy Roenick. Can't slip around Roberts, and there'll be a penalty to Pittsburgh. Goulet with a shot that's grabbed and held by Barrasso. Roenick went down. The Penguin will go to the penalty box.
You're watching Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final here on Screen Sport. No score. First period between the Blackhawks and the Penguins as we rejoin Bill Clement and Jiggs McDonald with the Blackhawks going to the power play.
Jeremy Roenick has put a lot of pressure on the Pittsburgh Penguins already in this game, more than he did in the first 2 games in Pittsburgh, and Gordy Roberts, as a result, is off for tripping. You can almost see, Jiggs, when Roenick gets the puck outside the blue line, you can almost tell that he's got an idea of what kind of final destination he wants, and that is the net. And when he tries to beat people one-on-one there, man, did he get airborne. You're looking at a determined Jeremy Roenick. I don't think we saw that determination in Pittsburgh, but you can tell when Roenick wants to get from the blue line all the way to the net, and it's hard to stop him.
In a snarly mood in the Chicago dressing room this morning. The media was there. Couldn't wait to get away from people. They ran into him in the lobby a little later with his dad and some friends, and he was far more accommodating, but the crowd seemed to be bothering him now. There are a lot of news types here. And Chicago's on the power play. Noonan pinching in, but Kjell Samuelsson picked it up and shot it down the ice. Belfour will leave it for Chris Chelios. He and Kravchuk on defense. Noonan, Roenick, and Larmer head up ice as Chelios lugs the puck. Chelios shoots it in from center. Off Barrasso's stick, goes to the corner. Roenick couldn't pick it up. It bounces out in front. Larmer with a shot. It got behind Barrasso and then was cleared. Kravchuk to Chelios, and that hits the stick and goes up into the seats. Another close call on a loose puck situation in the Pittsburgh end of the ice.
Well, the Penguins had the puck on the right guy's stick. It was Mario Lemieux. He just tried to dump it softly behind the net, and it hit a pad and came right out in front. Here's what it looked like from the far side of the ice. Chris Chelios trying to get it in so hard that Barrasso can't handle it, and he was able to get it by him. And with Roenick going in, you could see Lemieux picked it up, and he banked it off of Alt Samuelsson right out to Steve Larmer. And they've done that by dumping it around so hard he can't get to it. But even more often than that, what they've done is called just a cross-corner dump. If they bring it down the left boards, they dump it in straight into the right corner, across in front of Barrasso. If they come down the right side, they dump it in the left corner, straight into it, not around the boards.
A lot of players will tell you that's for a reason, because of the way the puck comes off these boards, Bill.
That's twofold. It keeps the puck away from Barrasso, but it's almost like a parabola. No matter where you hit it, it seems to come right out in front of the net. The new lumber for Chris Chelios.
Had one splinter, and that's the reason for the delay. Some debris had been removed from the ice. Still a minute and 12 seconds now remaining in the penalty against Pittsburgh. The Hawks trying to get something set up. Ryan Noonan out of the corner. Beat Chelios. Rob Brown is over on the right wing boards. Steve Smith backs up to the left side and moves across as Chelios centered into the goal mouth, and it's cleared aside. Murphy turns it up the boards. Mario Lemieux can't get it out. Backhander by Goulet is cleared aside. Murphy from back of the net. Larry Murphy on the backhand skies it out of play. Another big chance for the Blackhawks, and still the game is scoreless.
If the Blackhawks are going to look for experience and goal-scoring history, they have to look to Michel Goulet as well as Steve Larmer and as well as Jeremy Roenick. This man has over 500 in this league. He had 8 seasons with the Quebec Nordiques where he scored at least 40. And in one stretch of 4 consecutive seasons, he had over 50. Michel Goulet hasn't forgotten how to score. He has a little more trouble now getting from point A to point B because he's in his 30s and was never really a gifted skater, but tremendous from the blue line in.
And This is only his 88th Stanley Cup playoff game tonight. For a man who scored over 500 in the regular seasons. On the other hand, the other 500 goal scorer, Brian Trottier, well over 200 playoff games. Blackhawks trying to pinch in, but Roenick had the puck knocked away by Francis, and Chelios sets up inside the Chicago zone. In to Noonan, who takes the big turn. Roenick cuts to the right, so does Larmer, but Noonan had to turn back on Mario Lemieux. Chelios has the puck now, back to Noonan. Noonan steps over the line, trying to get it back to Roenick. He ran into a check from Larry Murphy, and it's cleared up to the blue line. Steve Smith recovers. Mario Lemieux chased him back a little. Noonan, a turnover at center ice, but a two-line pass. An offside called against Chicago. 10 seconds, all that's left in the penalty time against Gordy Roberts of Pittsburgh.
You know, it's so hard to defend against a power play that is able to get it in deep into the corners and establish enough time to move it. And Brian Noonan and the other guys that were out there on the power play with them never did get it in deep, and the Penguins are like most teams in the NHL. Unless you have full control of the puck and have already established sort of a set-up situation, they're going to force you. And they forced the Blackhawks in these power plays in the first period very well on the half board. That's the side boards halfway between the goal line and the blue line. They're not going to give the Blackhawks time to set up.
Trottier in the middle. He'll face off against Mike Hudson. Jocelyn Lemieux is on right wing. Greg Gilbert on left wing for Chicago. Trottier winning the face-off. Dropped it back to Jim Pack. And Krawchuk picks it up. That'll do it for the Blackhawks power play. 2 shots on goal. And the penalty to Roberts has expired. Jocelyn Lemieux hard around the board. Eddie Roberts can't get it away from Kucherov. Hudson is taken to the boards by Shell Samuelson's check. Lemieux digs it loose for Chicago. Back takes him into the boards, and Trottier recovers the puck. The pass toward Roberts is tipped through center. Into the Blackhawks zone. Balfour turns it up the boards. They tried to catch Pittsburgh in a player change. Kucherov's over the line. Loney breaks up the Chicago play, and now they have to go back. And the Penguins continue to make changes. Igor Krawchuk chased to the right wing boards by Yager. The puck comes up the middle. Here's Hudson dumping it in. Now the Blackhawks get a chance to make changes as Larry Murphy feeds Trottier. Kicked off his skates right to Yager. Yager drives on Brent Sutter. Look at the strength as he fed Murphy. Back to the point to Roberts. Puts it in front off Belfour's stick right to Trottier. And Trottier going back to the net. Trottier with Buskus all over him. In comes Jaromir Jagr. Sutter on him. Jagr takes the turn. Another move on Sutter. Jagr hearing it from the crowd now as he turns, shoots up, it's blocked in front. Brian Marchment rushes up ice. Marchment dumped it in. The Blackhawks had a man ahead of the puck carrier, Matteau. Now they get the play called on an offside. We have under 5 minutes to play in the opening period. Still no score.
Well, how many teams have been able to come back when they have trailed 2-0 in the final series? Only 3 of 35 teams. Toronto in 1942, Montreal in 66, and Montreal again in 1971. So that's what the Blackhawks were up against. You can see that going up 2-0 in the final series is very difficult to overcome.
Boy, that league team of 1942 is the one that came back from a 3-0 deficit. 50th anniversary of that turnaround in the series against Detroit. Here there is no score in the opening period of Game 3. McEachran is over the line with a shot up high, and Belfour blocked it. Thought about playing it, then decided to cover the puck and get a face-off. 4.5 minutes remaining in this first period. McEachran in the middle, Tocchet on the right, Evan Stevens on the left. For the Penguins, and Chicago countering with Hudson, Lemieux, and Gilbert. After watching Michael Jordan last night, you wonder if he's going to have a whole lot of gas left by the time he gets to Barcelona, the U.S. Olympic basketball team. Well, we'll know when the triple count comes, and we know now it's 1-0 Pittsburgh, and that rattling deflection in front of the net.
Man, this was as innocent a play as you can imagine. First things first, the Pittsburgh Penguins had to win the faceoff, and that's exactly what they did. They won it back cleanly. And then the shot by Jim Pack went off one stick, went off at least one more after that. here's the draw coming straight back. I mean, Pack had lots of time to let this go. But once he let it go, let's take a look at what's in front of him. We can stop right here and show you that he's got a huge screen to work with. And there is the stick that he hit. Look, another crowd in front. I'm not sure Eddie Belfour here was able to see it coming. It just came squibbing to him, bounced. Gosh, over or under is padded in, but that was a nightmare for Ed Belfour from the word go. When you win a draw that cleanly, the way the Penguins did there, the man-to-man coverage takes a while to shape up. The Blackhawks did a good job of shaping up their man-to-man coverage down low, but nobody was able to get out to Pack, and as a result, the screen just stayed there for him to use.
The goal at the 15:26 mark. Opening period. Pittsburgh up 1-0, and now Chris Chelios brings the Blackhawks out of the zone. Over center ice. Driving on Shell Samuelson, trying to go to the outside. Down behind the net, Samuelson saved right with him. Chelios turns. Samuelson pulled him back a little. Jocelyn Lemieux puts it back in the net. Here's Mike Hudson. Unable to center it. Now on the forehand, he turns on Pack. Jocelyn Lemieux in to pick it up. Shell Samuelson tying up Lemieux. The puck is loose on the end boards. Lemieux has the stick pulled away by Samuelson, and Pack is able to find an opening. It's held at the point. Chelios into Hudson. Now to Lemieux, puts it in front, and that one bouncing off McEachran. And McEachran gets it to the line, but no further. Steve Smith to Jocelyn Lemieux. Lemieux, look at the job by Shell Samuelson. The puck squirts loose. Rick Tocchet is checked by Steve Smith. Tocchet chips it out towards center ice, and Chelios is back. Can't get it into the zone as it hits Tocchet. Goes to Shell Samuelson. Up ahead was Lemieux, and they couldn't complete the pass. An icing call is made against the Pittsburgh Penguins, who have taken the lead. Pens 1, Blackhawks 0.
Boy, tremendous battling deep in the corners by the Hawks and the Penguins. But while everybody was battling in deep, Chris Chelios and Kevin Stevens had their own little war going, and they got into it with their sticks as well. Jabbing, pushing, slashing the whole time. And you can see that the Penguins are staying close to the point man. That means that they're allowing it to be a 3-on-3 down low. Chelios got a stick right up under Stevens' throat on that one. So they're trying to take away, the Penguins are trying to take away that full pinch by the Chicago Blackhawks by keeping their wingers right out tight to guys like Chelios.
Now Chicago wins the draw here. They get the puck back to Kravchuk. A trip as Bourque went down. Michel Goulet was all over him, and now there's going to be a penalty, a holding call against Goulet, and the Penguins will get their first power play opportunity of the game.
What a tremendous opportunity here for the Penguins with 3:13 to go in the first. This period has belonged to the Blackhawks, but how many times have we seen periods and sometimes games belong to the other teams only to have the Penguins win, and they are up 1-0 here. So Michel Goulet off for a hold.
Mike Keenan sending out a penalty-killing unit that will feature Brent Sutter and Dirk Graham as his forwards. Steve Smith and Chris Chelios will come out on defense as Goulet sits in the penalty box. For Pittsburgh, Kevin Stevens, Ron Francis, Jaromir Jagr. They're the forwards with Mario Lemieux at the left point and Larry Murphy on the right point.
A lot of referees might be intimidated by Chicago Stadium. Not Don Kuharski. He said on the trip from Pittsburgh to Chicago that he was anxious to get out on the ice. And really, this building fits Don Kuharski's personality, doesn't it?
I hadn't thought about that.
He's an outgoing guy. He doesn't mind a crowd. I mean, he likes to be on stage. I mean, he's a tremendous guy and a lot of fun. And this situation, I think, would appeal to him more than it would intimidate him. I mean, there's nothing introverted about Don Kuharski.
That's true. Larry Murphy rushes the puck here for Pittsburgh. The pass to Stevens, and they had Smith cutting across on him. Steve Larmer gets it out. Dirk Graham at center recovers. Larmer drives up to join him. Graham with a shot. That just went wide. It's off the left point. Holds it in with a pass to Larmer. Larmer sets it up. Loose in front, and Graham couldn't get to the backhand in time. Jagr after taking the pass from Murphy. And Stevens over the line. They tried to drop it to Lemieux, and it didn't work. Larry Murphy plays it across to the far side, and the puck is kicked out of play at the Pittsburgh bench. 2 minutes, 19 seconds remaining in this opening period. Chelios and Mario Lemieux in a bit of a collision at the blue line. A lot of fans here tonight from Pittsburgh as well as the hometown crowd.
But Chris Chelios doesn't have his phaser unstunned in this one. Taking no prisoners. He's going to protect himself or jab away, do whatever he has to with the stick, with the body. And when Chris Chelios plays that way, I think he's at his best. He is in the game 100%. And it makes life miserable for guys like Lemieux and Stevens and everybody else.
Mario's fight made a little more difficult recently the last couple of days by Mike Keenan's comments to the media about not appreciating the dives that Mario takes. I think that led directly to a couple of penalties that in turn led to power play goals. And now Scotty Bowman is being addressed by referee Koharski. The same message will be delivered to Mike Keenan. Scotty doesn't fight. Face-off that we're waiting for is just outside the Pittsburgh blue line. Oh, now it's getting a little more heated. On Koharski and Mike Keenan had a long talk. The play gets underway and Stevens drops the puck back. Well, Samuelson tips it out of the zone. It's picked up by Mario Lemieux. The pass to Stevens. One man back. He sets up Tocchet. His shot is deflected by Steve Smith. Larry Murphy held it long enough to get it to Lemieux. Mario Lemieux across to Ulf Samuelson. Back to Murphy. One time put in that hit Matone. Cleared out of the air by Chelios, and Matone dumps it the rest of the way down the ice. 35 seconds left in Goulet's holding penalty. Under 2 minutes to play in the opening period. Pittsburgh leads 1-0. Tocchet tips the puck. Stevens picks it up. Then Sutter cuts across to get a chunk of Stevens. And Steve Smith is there along with Larmer for Chicago. And Smith flying it high and to the blue line. Picked up by Mario Lemieux. After it had come outside the blue line, Lemieux was nudged by Larmer. And immediately Larmer is challenged. And Stevens ended up on the seat of his pants. And yes, it is Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. Any getting to know one another is put out of the system tonight.
The Hawks will do anything to try to throw Lemieux off his game, but in all of the years I've been watching him, I've never seen anybody really succeed in it when he is focused. I've seen it work during the regular season, but I've never seen it work at this stage of a hockey season or in a big situation such as the Canada Cup or the Stanley Cup playoffs. But the Hawks are going to try. Brent Sutter, big presence in this game so far. He's been very physical. He did a good one-on-one job on Jágr earlier, and here he is on Kevin Stevens. And Stevens is a much bigger man. He outweighs Brent Sutter by a good 35 pounds.
Scotty Bowman, quick look at the penalty clock. 13 seconds, all that his team has left with this man advantage. That's now. Stanton takes the puck in the exchange with Barrasso. The pass was too far for Jágr. This Chelios couldn't get it to Larmer in time, and it's loose in the Pittsburgh end. Out of the penalty box comes Goulet. 1-0 Pittsburgh. Teams at full strength. Steve Smith, the Smith, Michel Goulet. Long shot is well wide of Barrasso. Bounce right out in front again. Boy, those hard dump-ins off the board will create chances. Jágr trying to get it away from Steve Smith. Trache in as well. Now Stanton cuts across. Knocks his man down. Loose puck. Larmer couldn't get to it. Another penalty call coming. Trache out of the zone, but the whistle has sounded. This crazy crowd. Trache and his teammates didn't hear it. A holding penalty is being called by referee Koharski. Beginning to get nasty.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Jeremy Roenick is playing to his potential. Watch this. Here comes Roenick. Here comes Ulf Samuelson. I said that Roenick was a power forward. He is outweighed by Samuelson by a good 35 to 40 pounds, and did he ever put Samuelson down? Boom. To me, that's another sign that Jeremy Roenick is focused and on top of his game is when he plays like a big man. He didn't play like a big guy in Pittsburgh.
Number 68, Jágr, 2 minutes for holding and 19.
Holding penalty against Jágr. Only his third minor penalty of the playoffs.
And we'll show you the penalty as it unfolds. And you can see the coverage is good by the Penguins just about everywhere. Except once the Hawks were beaten in the corner right there, Jágr lost position on his man, and it was a pretty good tackle. And Don Koharski was only about 10 feet away. One more look at it. Now Jágr against the boards. Once he lets his guy come off the board, Steve Smith, you can't do that. You've got to make sure that you keep your body pinning him against the boards. As soon as he's able to spin around, he's going to get to the net before you, and you've got to drag him down.
Chicago had only 7 power play chances in the first 2 games of the series at Pittsburgh. This is their third of the opening period. Game 3 here in Chicago. Pittsburgh got the draw, failed to clear it out. Smith gives it to Roenick. Cross-ice pass. Comes out of the corner board. Chelios can't center it as Lemieux was on him. Chelios has it again. This time it goes back to Steve Smith. Over to Larmer. Back to Smith. Smith from the blue line shoots. It's tipped in front and cleared by the Penguins defense and shot down the ice by Francis.
I think that shot was going wide. It almost looked like it was tipped right on Barrasso.
Now the final 17 seconds of the period. The Hawks, one more rush perhaps. Goulet gets it across the line. Shoots up high. Comes off the end boards. Roenick tried to put it in front. He did, and it's covered by Barrasso. 5.6 seconds left in the period.
Boy, what a good read by Barrasso. And then after this play was even stopped, Michel Goulet came up with a straight left that knocked Samuelson's mask and his helmet right up on his head. And what did Samuelson do? He just backed away from the play. That's how disciplined the Penguins have been. But Barrasso was tested because the dump-in went on one side, and then Jeremy Roenick tried to squeeze it between the post and his skate, and he was already there. Well, this is a focused goaltender you're looking at.
6 seconds away from the intermission, jam-packed, including the old formative movie, and so much more. But prior to that, a key face-off for the Blackhawks. They trail 1-0. They have the man advantage, and the face-off at the Pittsburgh end of the ice. Brent Sutter with Jeremy Roenick, Steve Larmer, Chris Chelios, and Igor Kravchuk. Ron Francis will take the draw for the Penguins. Chelios, the lone man back. Sutter got the puck to him. He sneaks it off the board. Centered, but right through Kravchuk. Kravchuk with not enough time. Lets it go, and there is the siren.
So the Penguins ride their luck to take a 1-goal lead in the first period. But what will happen in the second? Mike Keenan will hope that luck starts to swing back his team's way.
I don't think a lot of the fans saw this one, but it was down in front of where we are sitting. Chris Chelios, away from the play, was able to chop Mario Lemieux. As this puck ends up coming up the boards, and Chelios did a pretty nice job. Well, the penalty actually happened considerably before this. I mean, it was way up ice. He chopped Mario Lemieux, and as the play went back down into the zone, that's what the fans were looking at, and they wondered why there was a penalty call. That was not the call. He had chopped Lemieux right on the hands, way up ice.
As a result, the third power play of the game for Pittsburgh.
Right, bottom of your screen is the chop. Right there. You saw the slash right under Lemieux's hands, and he went for his hands, it looked like, as well.
Wow. Lemieux is on the ice with his man advantage. Penguins trying to slip the puck out in front, could not. And a stick up into the face of Kevin Stevens, it appears.
Don Koharski is not even acknowledging the fact that Kevin Stevens is down. All he is doing is pointing at the faceoff dot, saying, here's where you have to go. You see just how big the hit was. As Stevens came out front, Rod Buskers was there, number 25 of the Penguins, to try to take him. Brent Sutter took him out. Little love tap, Kev. You're not going to get a call from Don Koharski on that one.
Hear the crowd reaction. So much has been made in the Chicago media, both print and electronic, over the past 48 hours or more, about the number of dives that Mario Lemieux has taken, that I'm sure the crowd figures every Penguin is diving all over the ice now.
Well, during the regular season, Kevin Stevens might have gotten that call, but not now, and not from Don Koharski. There is too much at stake to hand out a 5-minute major penalty for grazing a player accidentally in the face with a stick. I do think there's a place for the rule, but not that particular time.
Pittsburgh taking a lot of time talking things over. Dirk Graham and Rick Tocchet were in a bit of the debate. Francis, Stevens, and Lemieux discussed the setup here on the power play. Ron Francis and Brent Sutter to face off. Sutter ties up Francis, and the puck comes outside the zone. Lemieux got over to knock it away from any chance for Dirk Graham, and now Mario Lemieux has it again. So Larry Murphy Onto the stick of Kevin Stevens. 3 Hawks back at the line. Stevens driving to the left side. Puts it in deeper for Tocchet. Tocchet trying to center. Stevens goes in after it. Kevin Stevens with a shot. Can't save. And Graham handles the rebound. And Graham just shoots at the length of the ice. Murphy in the exchange here with Barrasso. 1 minute and 18 seconds left of the Pittsburgh power play. Larry Murphy to center ice, then dumps it in wide to Belfour. Buskus plays it to the line, and went off Francis. Francis able to protect the puck. Trying to get it away from Noonan. Here's Mario Lemieux, bumped by Buskus. Francis checked in turn by Noonan. Noonan tumbles to the deck. Penguins from across the line, led by Lemieux. He shoots off the right shoulder and Belfour. Murphy holds it at the point. Into the corner. Stevens works it back, but it's intercepted and cleared out by Steve Larmer.
What a shot by Mario Lemieux. We see him do so many things and get in so close for so many of his goals. I think we forget about what kind of shot he's got.
That's a wicked one, doesn't he? Stanton comes back to recover. 30 seconds remaining in this power play. You tipped it into the Chicago zone. Kuchera being chased deeper by Yager. Kuchera was knocked down. Yager freed up the puck, but Kravchuk was there. Stanton off the right point. Into Lemieux. Back to Samuelson. Oh, Samuelson's drive is just wide. Stanton off the right wing board. To Lemieux to Stanton. Back wing to Mario. Lemieux pounded off the puck here by Kravchuk, and it comes outside the line. Was tipped into the Pittsburgh players' bench. Clock stopped with 3 seconds left in the penalty to Chelios. 2 shots on goal on this power play for Pittsburgh.
And you had to figure that Kevin Stevens would be an important man in this building because of the size of the building. It is small, he is big and strong. He's got good takeoff speed, real good acceleration, good top-end speed, and he is strong. He can make things happen just by breaking away from people. And here he broke away from Kirk Graham and was able to just power the shot on Eddie Belfour. But Graham at one point in that sequence thought he had him tied up.
A little more than 7 minutes to play in the second period. Pittsburgh 1, Chicago 0. Kevin Stevens to McEachran and Pack scoring on that Pittsburgh goal that originally was credited to Rick Tocchet. Ryan Trottier is out with Yager and Loney. Stanton and Old Samuelson on defense. That's Old Samuelson giving it to Trottier. Back to Old Samuelson up the left wing boards, in and out of Loney's skates, on to Yager's stick. Armour Yager, and he couldn't get around Steve Smith. Yager draws a crowd, and the Penguins are forced out through center ice. Well, Samuelson drops back as both Larmer and Goulet come into forecheck. Collision here has knocked the net off. Larmer sliding back into the goal post, and goaltender Tom Barrasso. Everyone's okay. There's a discussion going on.
Here we have Yager at the bottom of the screen, Steve Smith with the arrow pointing to him, and Smith is even going to get help. What I want to show here is how difficult Jaromir Yager is, even though he seems like a big target to hit. Watch this. 2 guys tried to bang him, and he was able to spin away from both of them. They didn't get him.
Over at the Pittsburgh bench, we look at Yager and Mario Lemieux. Mario, when they first came back, had his arm around Yager, talking to him, encouraging the youngster. The Blackhawks have made him a target tonight, as they did in Game 2 of this series, going to number 68 with authority. That's one of the theories the Blackhawks are working on, that if they use the body, they can soften up this Pittsburgh team. Dump out results in a 2-line pass and an offside against Pittsburgh.
You ever tried to soften stainless steel?
No, never.
That might be as difficult a task as the Chicago Blackhawks face. If they think they can soften up the Penguins, let's face it. I think the work ethic and the hitting and the intimidation factor are really overrated at this time of year, when guys like Troy Loney know he's not going to be intimidated anytime. And they know they've got perhaps only 2 more days after today to win a Stanley Cup if they can win this one. I think all of that stuff's overrated. Everybody works 100%. Nobody is intimidated. And it's tough to soften stainless steel.
Stainless steel is back out playing right wing, if you're referring to number 68. Mr. Jaromir Yager, the 20-year-old, playing with Trottier and Loney. Blackhawks trying to get to a loose puck. Rob Brown had a swipe at it. Trottier protected it. Now comes loose in the corner. Barrasso and Lemieux tried to center. See where Jim Pack was, made the play out towards center, and the Blackhawks set up again. Markman has left it in. He and Buskers on defense here for Chicago. Pack plays it around the boards. It got through Markman. He races back, and Belfour races out to clear it. In the center ice area, the Blackhawks couldn't get anything organized. Trottier taps at it, gets it into the Chicago zone. And Belfour moves it around to Brian Markman. Markman got it here by Loney, and it's going to go the length of the ice. Gordy Roberts will touch up. Whistle is for icing. The call against Chicago with 5 minutes and 37 seconds left in the period. Lemieux in the middle, and again he went right to the net on the faceoff, only to miss. Roberts plays it around the board. And Belfour gives the puck to Steve Smith. Knocked away. Here's Roenick with it. Out of the air by Larmer. Elio drags it around the boards in the Pittsburgh zone. Barrasso turns it up the right side. It hit Goulet and went to Murphy. Murphy touches it away from Goulet. Now Roenick centers. Larmer with a shot. Weak one as it turned out to be deflected. And the concentration of that man, Tom Barrasso, has been excellent. In the middle of your screen, Ladislav Tretiak. Sitting beside him, Jack Davidson of the Chicago Blackhawks staff. Here, J.D. mentioned earlier that a quick call was made to Russia. Great goaltender of those teams that we saw in Canada Cup tournaments and Olympic tournaments 3 years back. Made the quick trip to Chicago and has worked with these goaltenders.
He's definitely one of the greatest goalies to have ever played the game. And interestingly enough, Eddie Belfour is kind of a loner. He has taken to Vladislav Tretiak like a brother. He wants to hang around with him all the time.
On the draw, the Blackhawks. The shot go wide of the net, and it bounces back into the Chicago zone. Kravchuk to pick it up. Igor Kravchuk with the pass to Brent Sutter. 3 Hawks move up. They dump it in. Old Samuelson gets it out of harm's way, and Kravchuk has to chase it, but it's across the goal line this time. And results in an icing against Pittsburgh. Just under 5 minutes remaining to play. Period number 2 from the Chicago Stadium.
Blackhawks keep on banging at the door, but Tom Barrasso won't let him in, and now Igor Kravchuk and Ed Belfour are having a bit of a conflab. It's still 1-0 Pittsburgh here in the second.
Chicago Blackhawks, when this series started, were a little short on Stanley Cup final experience, but they did have 4 guys who've been there and were there long enough to get rings. Chelios, Gilbert, Smith, and Sutter all have at least 1 Stanley Cup ring.
One of the mainstays of the Edmonton Oilers defense for their 3 of their glory years. Steve Smith with Chelios as his defense mate. They're lined up with Roenick, Larmer, and Paul is the forward. Brian Trottier's unit up for Pittsburgh. Trottier tied up Roenick. Mario Lemieux brings the puck into the center ice zone, feeding Phil Bourque. Back to Lemieux. Deflect to Trottier, but it matters not. The whistle is sounded for an offside. Talk about Stanley Cup rings. This Pittsburgh team had never gone to the finals till a year ago. Brian Trottier's first year with that team.
No wonder he feels like a lucky guy just to be where he is. 5 Stanley Cup rings, 4 with the Islanders, 1 last year with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and now so close to a 6th one. You know how many players don't even get close to 1, let alone 2 or 3, or all the way up to 6. And Brian Trottier is humble enough to admit that he just feels fortunate to be where he is right now.
Johnny Bowman is taking him back to the bench, moving Lemieux into the middle. Bourque goes to the left side and McEachran to the right. Chicago countering with Rob Brown, Dirk Graham, and Brent Sutter. All start on the face-off. McEachran and Brown were poking at one another with the lumber. Referee Koharski and the 2 linesmen go over to talk to them.
Rob Brown was trying to get that little hook into the back of McEachran's leg. That's a subtle trick that a lot of guys use. As soon as the puck is dropped, if you have your stick in the right spot, you just need to tug a little bit on the back of the guy's knee that's beside you. You throw him off balance and you can leave him standing there.
Mike Keenan not only coaching, trying to referee as well. Very obvious, isn't it, that he's not in agreement with Don Koharski's rule book. We had words earlier, and now Don Koharski is saying enough. There will be a penalty against Chicago, it appears.
Is he calling a penalty, or is he simply forcing Alt Samuelsson to come back on the ice? I think he objected to the line change.
He pointed at Mike Keenan. He's not pleased with what's been going on in the delays, obviously. And now Pittsburgh does make a complete change following the faceoff. Complete except for Mario. Tocchet and Stevens came out. And Lemieux steals the puck, trying to set up the man at the point. That's Roberts. Can't get it through to Lemieux. Eric Graham feeds it behind Sutter, who had to reach for it. He's over the line with Rob Brown. Murphy drives Sutter toward the corner. Sutter has the puck in his skate. And Sutter moves it along the end boards. Roberts turns on Graham. It comes up the near wing. Chelios pinching in. It's knocked away by Kevin Stevens. Back goes Steve Smith. This gave it away. Mario Lemieux didn't have anybody over on the far side to get it to. And up with it is Roenick. His pass toward Rob Brown. Brown lost it. Graham inside the line has given it to Brown. He dumps it toward the corner for Roenick. Jeremy Roenick pulls up on Roberts. Steps out in front. Down to the deck, and Mario Lemieux backhands it, but got out. Chelios with a shot that was blocked. Now Larmer's centering attempt is knocked away, and here's Tocchet on a breakaway. Rick Tocchet get it by the goalpost. Went to the outside after Belfour went down, and back comes Larmer. Larmer with a drive. That changed direction in front. Roenick pulls it off the board. Get back to Marchment for a shot that misses the net. Here's Jeremy Roenick now. Roenick centers, and that was wide. Yager nudges it around Marchment, and up they come. Yager and Stevens, but Yager has taken off the puck. Trache drives over the line. Trache with a shot. Belfour the save, and it's knocked away from him. Kevin Stevens has it here. Belfour without his goal stick. Yager works it around the end board. Belfour has his stick again. Yager gets through everybody. Sets up Samuelsson. His shot underneath Belfour, and there's no further play.
Eddie Belfour had to look behind him, and he may have been shaken up a little earlier. Man, end-to-end stuff, tremendous scoring chances, starting with Rick Tocchet's breakaway. And the players at the benches, man, they're not sitting down, they're standing. Scotty Bowman dearly wants another goal right now at the end of the second period. This is a look at it from a reverse angle. Lemieux to Tocchet. Does Marchment pull him down on this play? I thought that he got back and up. Oh, yeah, he did. You see what he did? He pushed Tocchet in the back of the leg. And that was enough to throw Rick Tocchet off balance. He got away with it. And then Steve Larmer at the other end with a huge opportunity. Good move by Larmer to go to his forehand, and then last one. And the last chance by the Penguins, Brian Trache's huge shot that caught Eddie Belfour up high. As he was diving for it, Jaromir Jagr caught his stick and pulled it out of his hand.
Pittsburgh managed 6 shots on goal in the first period. They've had 7 to this stage of the second. Blackhawks have had only 5 shots in the second period, and the only goal of the game came here 15 and a half minutes into the opening period. It's credited now to Kevin Stevens, McEachran, and Pack. 1-0 is your score in Chicago. Francis on the face-off with Hudson. Puck loose in the corner following the draw. Kuchera puts it back to the net. That's Rob Brown. Off the board, Shell Samuelsson lays it around behind the Chicago goal. McEachran and Noonan go to the board. Babcock able to move it up. Hudson drives across the blue line. Got checked, and Phil Bourque clears it out. Here's Sean McEachran. Good speed. McEachran driving on Kravchuk. Chase back to the net. Put it across in front. None of the Penguins were able to get to it. Kuchera finds Hudson. He dumps it in from the blue line. Back behind the net is Bourque, Pack, and Francis. McEachran over on right wing. Tips it outside the Pittsburgh zone. Igor Kravchuk puts it back in, and it's 1-4. Cleared out by the Penguins. Under 2 minutes to go in the second period. Here's Igor Kravchuk. Shoots it down into the Pittsburgh zone. Shell Samuelsson touches it. That's an icing against Chicago. Now 1 minute and 49 seconds remaining in the second period.
Chicago has worked so hard for their scoring chances. Mike Peluso hasn't had the ice time in this game that he had in Game 2. Stu Grimson is not even suited up, and he played quite a bit in Game 2 as well. But Mike Keenan knew one thing about this Pittsburgh Penguin team through the first 2 games. He said they have been as strong defensively as any team we have faced in the playoffs, and I agree 100% with that. But the scoring chances do not come easy for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Blackhawks are playing only their 8th home game in the playoffs of '92. They've lost once here. That was in the series for St. Louis. 6 wins, 1 loss on home ice. Pittsburgh is a road team, a record of 6 wins and 3 losses during the playoffs.
I think we're down to 1:49 to go in the second period, and the Hawks only have 5 shots on goal. They managed 4 in the second period in Pittsburgh and 4 in the third period. So the Penguins were back on their heels early in this one, but they have closed the door.
Sure have. Played into the Pittsburgh zone and laid offside. Negated now as the Penguins come through center. Mario Lemieux is across the Chicago line. Backs up to the boards, then shoots one off. Fell for it. He has to reach out to corral it and hold it. Mario Lemieux playing with Rick Tocchet and Kevin Stevens, with Murphy and Roberts on defense.
When Lemieux crosses the line here, really the option that he doesn't want to execute is the shot on goal. He is looking for somebody to break through, but the man-to-man coverage was very strong. There was Stevens. Stéphane Matteau had him, so really Lemieux's only option was to get it to Belfort.
18,472 paid their way to be here tonight. They have seen the Penguins score the only goal of the game. We're glad you're with us on Sports Channel America. Blackhawks coming to center. Dirk Graham has dumped the puck in. Brent Sutter after it. Sutter spins it back toward Chelios. His shot deflected in front. Matteau takes a look. Worked it out in front. Off Sutter and out of the zone as well. And Steve Smith charges after it. Now less than a minute to go in the second period as Dirk Graham at center ice feeds Brent Sutter on left wing. Sutter taken to the boards by Larry Murphy. Sutter protected the puck. It comes back to the point. Steve Smith takes a look. Right foot up. It's blocked by Barrasso, and the rebound went right to Mario Lemieux. Chicago recovering inside the zone. This is Chelios. Chase deeper by Stevens. Chelios left it on the boards. Goulet met there by Francis, and now Tocchet put a stick on it. It bounces at the Chicago line and is held in by the Penguins. Belfort turns it around to right wing. This is Chelios. This Chelios waiting for somebody to cut through. Played it off Roenick. On into the Pittsburgh zone. 2 Hawks into the check on Stanton. Paul Stanton got it to the line, but not out. Larmer's shot sails off the glass. And back to Chelios. He puts it behind the net. This is Goulet, unable to center it cleanly. 5 seconds remaining in the period. Bill Bourque will get the Penguins out towards center, and that will do it for the second period. Neither team able to score in the second.
Welcome back. Chicago Stadium still waiting for the first Blackhawk goal through 2 periods here in Game 3. Just 1 goal and it's gone Pittsburgh's way. Can they hold out? Let's rejoin Bill and Jigs.
Welcome back to Chicago Stadium. Getting set for the third period. The Penguins leading the Blackhawks by a score of 1-0. Some more of Jim Bellucci's handiwork. It's okay to hit 66. If you can catch him, I guess. 66, an obvious reference to the Penguin captain, Mario Lemieux. And as they line up for the third period, let me remind you that the face-off is brought to you by Molson, a part of the NHL tradition since 1957. Molson is Canadian beer. The Penguins chase back into their own zone immediately, but Stéphane Matteau gets checked and Rick Tocchet finds Stevens moving out. Evan Stevens tried to cut inside at the blue line, lost control of it. Covering at the blue line for Pittsburgh is Roberts. It slipped away from him, went right to Barrasso, and then onto the stick of Kevin Stevens. There's Graham with a turnaround shot. Didn't get it through Roberts. Tocchet trying to tip it around Smith in the center ice area. Rick Tocchet backhands it into the zone. Matteau reached up, made it to the stick, and now across to Dirk Graham. Graham backhanding it in. Barrasso will hold it up for Ulf Samuelsson. Quickly to Rick Tocchet. He tries to go cross ice. And nobody there to give it to. Left up for Chicago to Hudson, and down the ice it goes. This is Larry Murphy dancing back to the net. And turns it around to the other boards. Hudson goes after Phil Bourque. Bourque might come back to the net. Look at the crowd form there. Here's Larry Murphy up off the boards. McEachran had Kuchera in his face. But the Penguins do get out of the zone. Walt Samuelson plays it in off Phil Bourque's stick. And Belfort tries to come to the near boards. McEachran pitching in. Puts it behind the Chicago net. Got it again. Put it out in front this time. But Rob Brown is able to clear it. Down the far side goes Brian Noonan. He'll dump it in from center. Hanson hustles back here. Up to McEachran. Kicked it to the line. Larmer held it in and the shot was turned aside. Now Michel Goulet is met solidly by Alt Samuelson. But Larmer centers. Roenick is there and can't bang it in. He got flattened on the play. Takes his right hand a little bit. Appears now to be favoring it even more as he comes back out into the center ice area, holding the hockey stick only in his left hand.
Now he's going to the bench, and you get into situations where you have to pull the trigger, and momentarily you forget that you're injured, so you just let it rip. He has ligament damage in his right hand.
Now Michel Goulet gets to center, gave the puck to Larmer, to Brent Sutter. Sutter crowded off by Brian Pache and Jim Pack. Loney in on the play as well. O'Neill freed it up. Pack moves it out for Pittsburgh. He's Smith being chased back by Yager. Yager turns on Smith. Yager spins it toward the net, but off Loney, who comes out in front with a backhander and can't get that by Belfort. Loney protected it long enough for Lemieux to come in. He's met solidly, and now a shot from the point goes wide. Yager gets to it. It gets to him. Maluso had the puck, lost it to Loney. Now battle along the near board. Yager is belted, knocked to the ice. Loney tips out in front. Belfort reaches for the puck. And now the whistle. It was out of the sight of referee Don Koharski. There will be a face-off in the Chicago zone.
Chris Chelios in the second period, his ice time dropped off a little bit, but when you play half a period, that's plenty. So Mike Keenan, unlike game 2, is going with his horses. Jeremy Roenick has not had as much ice time, I imagine, as he would have if he were healthy. He went off to the bench and was in a considerable amount of pain.
Now they line up for a face-off. Deep in the Chicago zone. Mario Lemieux on the draw for the Penguins. Brent Sutter for the Blackhawks. Sutter wins this face-off. Open the toe. Looks like he wanted to come up the left wing boards. It's gone all the way over to the right side of the ice. Running on Gordy Roberts' side and has dumped it in. Russell plays it around to the near side. Graham finds Sutter moving back to the net, but the Penguins found him as well. They're up with the puck. Mario Lemieux. Nice little pass to Larry Murphy. Back to Lemieux, but out of his reach. Lemieux goes in after it. Pulled up on Graham. Crockett moves it to Lemieux. Steps from back to the net. Lemieux to the point. Here's Roberts with a drive. Blocked by Graham, and the puck comes outside the zone. Murphy over to get a stick on it. And the Blackhawks have to chase it once more. 3.5 minutes of the third period at Chicago. The Blackhawks takes it off the boards, right to Barrasso, and the Penguins quickly clear the zone. Steve Larmer recovers at center ice. He's out with Goulet, and Roenick is out on the ice as well. Here comes Paul Stanton. Stanton with a shot, turned aside by Belfort. That's up, takes it around behind the net. Lifts it out through center. Stanton will go back. There's a whistle now. Chicago has iced the puck. Still the Pittsburgh Penguins with a 1-0 lead over the Chicago Blackhawks.
Boy, Scotty Bowman's team is not settling for a 1-0 lead at this stage. They have forced the Hawks to dump the puck out of their own zone high off the glass. These guys don't lay back. They're going to keep coming to the Chicago Blackhawks.
Ron Francis, Rob Brown on the faceoff. There was one actually by Francis, but Gilbert stepped in smartly and has cleared the puck to the line. Stanton gave it to Walt Samuelson. That's Rob Brown. And the forecheck here for Chicago. Greg Gilbert moves up, ran into his teammate Krawchuk. And Kuchera had to clear it out. And Gilbert is met again, this time by Ron Francis. Will Bourque steps into the passing lane. Tripped up. Bourque went down rather awkwardly. McEachran brings the puck to the right wing boards in the Chicago zone. He gets checked, and here's Greg Gilbert. Gilbert with a pass toward Noonan. He's tipped it in, and it bounces wide of Barrasso's cage. Now Samuelson to McEachran and out of the zone. Not a whole lot on it. That's just exactly what Pittsburgh has done when they have a lead in the third period throughout these playoffs. Chicago has moved it down the ice. They touched it first, slicing his waves off, and Yager comes up with the puck. Yager through center, 4 Penguins, 3 Hawks back. Trottier makes the pass to Shell Samuelson. He shoots Belfour right at the top of the crease as it tucked away.
Boy, the fact that Shell Samuelson is up on the play is exactly what I was talking about. They are not going to sit on a lead. They want another one. And they got the puck to Shell Samuelson, who, when he has enough time, can really bring it home. Yager with a nice pass over to Brian Trottier, and you can see that Samuelson gives a couple of little steps to get up on the play. And with that much time, he can really let it fly.
Time is the key word, something that the Penguins didn't have much of in Game 1. They came back from a 3-0 deficit and won. And they started to get a little more time to move the puck and play with it in the third period of that game, as I recall. Lemieux is out. So is Frank Sutter for Chicago. Lemieux goes to the boards, puts it behind the net. Before turn, lays it up around the glass. It bounces towards Stanton and then bounced away from him. Michel Goulet can't get through center ice. Chelios for the long shot. Off the stick to Tom Barrasso, but it's called back on an offside. We have played 5 minutes and 11 seconds of this third period. Just a 1-goal game here tonight. Evan Stevens scoring for Pittsburgh.
Twice in the first period, I noticed the Penguins going back into their own end, having time and taking the time. They learned very quickly that just because you have the time, you shouldn't take it against the Chicago Blackhawks. And one of the keys for the Penguins since the first period, which they were able to survive, quick puck movement back in their own zone. Man, they don't even look. They just rifle it either high off the glass, hard around, hoping that somebody is going to be there, and more times than not, somebody has already reacted to it. Don't take the time, even if you have it, against the Chicago Blackhawks, because they'll eat you up.
One of the adjustments that this Pittsburgh team would have to make, I think, Bill, is the end glass isn't that high. The side glass, I believe, is, but the glass around the end zones here in Chicago is not as high as in Pittsburgh and most of the other NHL arenas.
That takes away one of the options that the Chicago Blackhawks have in dumping it in, keeping it away from Barrasso. One of the options is high around the glass. Can't do it here. It's not really high enough.
Now Yager frees the puck for Trottier, and he backhands it in wide of the net. Leaves it, and Steve Smith plays it up the right side. Roenick goes cross ice, and Goulet gets through center ice. On into the Pittsburgh zone with check from behind. Yager knocked him down. Goulet stays in the play. Gets his stick on the puck again. Taken to the boards here. And it will come outside the Pittsburgh zone. Chris Chelios shoots it right back in. The Hawks have to get the play onside, and Goulet is limping as he heads back toward the Chicago bench. Steve Farmer moved it into Roenick, who was parked inside the Pittsburgh zone, and that puts the whole play offside. 1-0 Pittsburgh as we pause now for a regional break.
So Chicago's agony goes on. They just can't find a way through the Pittsburgh's defense, and Tom Barrasso in particular. And time starting to run out here in the third period. It's still 1-0 Penguins.
Jocelyn Lemieux on the draw here. That's won by Sean McEachran. Murphy had to go back into his own zone to recover it, and lost it to Jocelyn Lemieux. Puts it back to the net. Rob Brown went in but couldn't get the puck. Roberts tumbles to the deck, and the puck is underneath him, and there again will be a face-off in the Pittsburgh zone.
Boy, both of these teams have done such a good job of not allowing themselves to be outnumbered deep in their own zones, behind their net. Ron Francis for the Penguins is back in deep. The centers have a great responsibility when you're playing against a strong forechecking team such as the Blackhawks. At the Blackhawks end, they've done a good job as well. The Penguins have not had any outnumbered situations behind the Chicago Blackhawks goal line. And that means you have to earn your chances.
Chicago has yet to have a shot on goal here in the third period. As you see, they're making a change. They played just over 6 minutes of the third period. Lou Varga, the longtime trainer here in Chicago. Equipment man, I should say. Puck played out of the Pittsburgh zone now, but Chelios recovers at center. Steve Smith up the left wing boards for Brent Sutter. Into the skates of Graham, and it was offside. He was ahead of the puck. 13.5 minutes to go in the third period of Chicago. Blackhawks using Graham on the right, Mateau on the left with Brent Sutter in the middle. Now they're making a late change. Mike Keenan has sent out Roenick and Larmer. And Dirk Graham will shift from the right side over and play the left way. He is up against Mario Lemieux, who's gone to the right. Lemieux just took the feet out from under Graham, picks up the puck and shoots it in. Now Pittsburgh continues to make changes as both Samuelson and Paul Stanley come out, and Lemieux broke up a cross-ice pass. Steve Smith is back for it. Smith carrying it out of the zone. And just dumps it in, but it hit the linesman and is brought back by Mario Lemieux. Lemieux takes the shot at the line, cuts to the right side, gave it to Tocchet for a shot. That hit Belfour and went wide. Stevens puts it out in front. Here's Lemieux, turns around, shoots it. Grabbed and held. Chelios and Stevens were parked in front. No rebound this time off goaltender Ed Belfour.
Good man-to-man coverage by both Chris Chelios and his defense partner Steve Smith. Chelios had Stevens and Smith had Tocchet, and nobody was able to get there for a poke at it or a rebound. Chris Chelios brings so much to the ice surface, and Lemieux realized that he had a 3-on-2 that was really a 4-on-2, so he dropped it while Stevens was going to the net. Finally, the shot by Rick Tocchet got through, and at that point, the Hawks figured out what their man-to-man coverage was all about.
Ryan Trottier comes out. Pittsburgh makes a change now. Hughes and his forward line going back to the bench. Trottier with Loney and Yager. Well, Samuelson and Jim Pack at the point. But Samuelson with a shot off the post. The deflection, and it hit the post to the right of Belfour. Now Loney puts it in the goal mouth, and that's tipped aside. The Blackhawks having trouble getting out of the zone. Here's Yager, but it went off his stick. They rule it once outside the line and shot back in on an offside. But another close call for Ed Belfour and the Blackhawks. The post to his right saved him here.
That was just an end-over-ender that changed directions and came down off the far post. You know, I mentioned the Pittsburgh Penguins aren't going to fall back and allow the Hawks to come at them. This offside was caused by Jim Pack standing into the blue line, and he came within an inch of giving the Penguins another good scoring chance. A team that goes into a shell, pulls out of the offensive zone very quickly, backs in at their own blue line, and allows the attack to come to them. The Penguins have not done that.
Again, Pittsburgh changed the defense following the draw. Caluso, Roenick, and Larmer together for Chicago. The defense combination is Stanton and Samuelson. That's exactly what Scotty Bowman wants against Roenick and Larmer. Trottier tying up Roenick. That allows Stanton to play the puck around the boards. Samuelson clears the zone, and Marchman has to go back. And Belfour leaves it with Ryan Marchman. Caluso. Cross ice, second off Trottier. Roenick after it. Roenick is bumped by Ulf Samuelson, and Roenick gets up slowly. The puck cleared out by the Penguins. Belfour plays it to the left side. Kuchera puts it in the middle of the ice. Nothing doing there. Up comes Trottier. Overled Jocelyn Lemieux. Lemieux drives it after it. Roberts takes him into the board. Brown came in as well, but the Penguins have the puck. This is Ron Francis.
Ron Francis again back in deep behind his own goal line to help out his defenseman.
Into Phil Bourque, and he tipped it off the post again. This is McEachran. McEachran can't get away from Kuchera. Ron Brown carries it out for the Blackhawks. Brown through center, got it wide. Roberts turns it back to the net. Jocelyn Lemieux took him into the boards heavily. Ryan Noonan with a pass to Rob Brown. Brown trying to center. Lemieux can't get a stick on it. Phil Bourque does, and the Penguins get it out of the zone. From the Blackhawks. Like to shoot it in here.
Believe it or not, the Blackhawks still have not had a shot on goal in the third period.
I believe it. We have played 9 minutes of the period. It's dumped in, handled by Barrasso. Up off the boards. Mateau knocked it down. Stefan Mateau picks it off the boards here on left wing, but can't get it around Larry Murphy. Lemieux gets it to center ice. Tocchet brings it over the line. Then he is squeezed off the puck, and up comes Graham. Checked by Tocchet. Rick Tocchet plays the puck across to Kevin Stevens. Stevens Getting it off the boards. It bounced out, but away from Tocchet. Now Brent Sutter will lead the Blackhawks. Giving it to Chelios. Chelios takes the shot, trying to drive wide on Pack. To the corner. This is Brent Sutter. The fifth. He couldn't trap it. And the Blackhawks will recover inside their own zone. And just joined us. We're midway through the third period. It's Pittsburgh 1, Chicago nothing. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final, the championship round. Pittsburgh leading 2-0. Trying to go up 3-0. The Blackhawks hold the puck in. It's loose in front. Goulet with a shot that's turned aside. Battling back to the net is Jogger. That's the first shot on goal, and now a penalty call. Back to the play, an interference penalty against Pittsburgh as Larmer went down, and Chicago will have a chance to get even on the power play.
Well, this crowd is still looking for their team to draw some blood here, and they have an opportunity because Jim Pack is off for interference. Right by the side of the net, Jim Pack was tied up with Steve Larmer. He gave him a shove and knocked him to the ice, and that was enough for Don Koharski. Here go the Hawks on the power play.
The crowd has been with them all the way here. Now trying to crank them up a little more. See if they can take it to the next level, but the puck goes out of play. Roenick is out on the ice along with Steve Larmer, and Brent Sutter is the Chicago forward. Steve Smith has been out at the start of this power play, goes back to the Chicago bench. Mike Keenan will send out Igor Kravchuk. He will join Chris Chelios on the point. Pittsburgh, it is going to be Mario Lemieux, Ron Francis, Larry Murphy, and Old Samuelson. A long year for Mike Keenan. He coached the Canadian team in the Canada Cup Championship. They won the championship that started really with training camp back in July. Here we are looking at the calendar flip, the month of June. The Blackhawks have more important things than turning the calendar. 1 minute and 50 seconds on which to get even on a power play. Francis and Sutter on the face-off right in the center ice zone. Iceman Gerard Gauthier. Backs him up a little. Larry Murphy skates out of position. So does Chelios.
I think he was talking to Ron Francis about his helmet and the fact that the strap is not fastened. Now Francis moments earlier had his helmet knocked off. Is he forcing him to go off? Perhaps it won't snap. That's maybe why Ron Francis hadn't snapped it up.
Darryl Sutter, an assistant coach, saying, no, put somebody else out. Francis, a little help from equipment man Steve Lattin, is allowed to come back out for the face-off.
The Blackhawks can't worry about the wrong things right now. Ron Francis' helmet and the ruling on that is something that should take a back seat to this priority, and that's getting the goal in the power play.
They held the puck in at the Pittsburgh line. Larmer moved it along the boards. The Penguins move it out. Kravchuk for the pass to Chris Chelios. Out of Kravchuk. Ripped off his stick and is shot down the ice by Francis. Chelios will recover. Takes a little time. Waits for everybody to come back. And the puck slipped away from him. Kravchuk with a pass to Roenick. And the Hawks do have trouble getting through center ice here, don't they? Now Chelios across the line with a rip that's turned aside. Brent Sutter and Lemieux go to the corner. Brent Sutter, checked by Mario Lemieux. He couldn't get it out of the zone. Old Samuelson slaps it up the boards and down the ice. The first half of this penalty against Pack has expired. Blackhawks coming to the left side. The pass went off Roenick's stick and is shot right back in again by Phil Bourque. Bourque and McEachran cutting it off. Roenick is gone for a rest as we watch Chelios give it to Matteau, and he's checked at the Pittsburgh line. Chelios couldn't get it to Kravchuk cleanly. Now Chelios will get a rest. Igor Kravchuk. Right side. Noonan sneaks in along the board. Skirted the check from Stanton. And is picked up by McEachran. Still able to get something on it, but couldn't move it in front. Lost the mesh at the back of the net for a moment. Nothing but conversation on the open board.
Jeremy Roenick noticeably was having trouble handling the puck in his last shift. He is coming back out after a short rest, but he wanted to wind up and drill it in hard around back of Tom Barrasso, and he couldn't even do that. I guess he decided not to in the middle of his backswing, and he pulled out of it. And the Penguins continue to be patient, all except Kjell Samuelsson. Don't know what his problem is. I know that Brian Noonan gave Sean McEachran a shove from behind and pushed him into the net, and Samuelsson went to McEachran's defense. Maybe he wants more ice time.
8 minutes, 23 seconds, all that's left in the third period. Chicago won the draw. This is Chelios. Rob Brown lets it go, and it's blocked and then hammered right on the rebound. And back to Brown. Over to Chelios. Knocked over his stick. He's got it down, but it's checked by Ron Francis. Chelios recovers out at center ice. And he gets forced back deeper by Mario Lemieux's persistence. Blackhawks have had 3 shots on goal with this man advantage. And that advantage has expired. It's still Pittsburgh 1, Chicago nothing. Under 8 minutes to go in the third period at Chicago Stadium. Jim Pack with a pass to Trottier. Trying to work it back, didn't have anybody moving up, and Brian Noonan brings it over the line. The man fell, and he moves right in, beaten by Barrasso. And the Penguins trying to move it out of the zone, succeeds, and Ronick will set up again at center ice. Turns on Trottier. Makes the pass to Noonan. He's set by Loney. Brian Noonan puts it back in the net. Lloyd Roberts is there, the Pittsburgh defenseman, up to Trottier, down to Murphy. 3 Penguins come through center, 2 Hawks are back. This is Murphy holding it, shooting it, grabbed and held by Ed Belfour.
Time now very much a factor against the Chicago Blackhawks here on Screen Sport. Game 3 slipping away from them. The Penguins still leading 1-0, and we're in the latter stages of the third period here at Chicago Stadium. Let's get back to the action.
Pittsburgh wins the draw. Paul Stanton dumped it in, and then he and Paul Samuelsson are immediately changed up. Kjell Samuelsson has come out with Jim Pack. Chicago with Kravchuk and Marchman on defense. Up front, Graham with Greg Gilbert and Brent Sutter.
Pittsburgh still not pulling out. They're in a 1-2-2 forecheck, but when the play came up to top and he was one of the guys back, he jumped right at his man and turned the puck over.
Brent Sutter dumped it in. Russell wants to play it up the boards. The Hawks keep it in the zone. Greg Gilbert out-bustled by Kjell Samuelsson. There's Graham in the corner. Letters off the stick of Gilbert. And it's brought back by Rick Tocchet. He's left it for Phil Bourque. Bourque's a hard shot and a high one over the crossbar. Tocchet over on the wing. Plays it back to the Chicago net. Now 1 minute and 25 seconds left in the third period. This is Greg Gilbert down the left wing boards, and he'll shoot it in wide of the net. Ronick get after it. The puck was up in the air. Held by Larmer. To Chelios. Chelios trying to go through a crowd. In front to Goulet, and he's beaten by Barrasso. Lemieux for Pittsburgh. Got it out toward center. Ronick is offside as Steve Smith shot it to him back inside the Pittsburgh blue line.
The Penguins have a problem with something that Don Koharski did. I'm not sure what it is, but you could expect a timeout right about now by Mike Keenan. 1 minute and 4 seconds to go. He at least needs to communicate with Eddie Belfour as to what the plan is going to be. And Tom Barrasso has had to stop some tough ones in this game. The latest off the stick of Michel Goulet. Excellent play by Chris Chelios to look for Goulet on the slot. He didn't blast it. When he got it to Goulet, Barrasso was in perfect position for him.
The timeout has been called with 1 minute and 4 seconds left in the third period. The timeout was called by the Pittsburgh Penguins, we're told now. And the 30 seconds has just elapsed. Mike Keenan did get a chance to talk strategy, as did Scotty Bowman. We have 64 seconds remaining. Regulation time. Don Koharski talking with Scotty Bowman. Keyhole. Here McGuire as well, and now we're set to go. Ron Francis and Brent Sutter on the faceoff. Sutter kicked it back to Smith, across to Chelios. Chelios shoots it in. No indication by Belfour that he's ready to leave the ice, and the puck goes out of play. Faceoff now in the Pittsburgh zone. 55 seconds left in regulation time.
I don't think Larry Murphy wanted to do that. He cleared the glass with it, and all he had to do was bank it off the glass, and he had support on this side. So the Penguins will be faced with a face-off deep in their zone, which is exactly where the Blackhawks want it. Now Mike Keenan takes a glance over to Eddie Belfour, who is out to his left. They've got their signals straight, and is he going to pull him right now?
Yes, he is. Brian Noonan has come off the bench. Belfour leads the ice. A lot of criticism of the Chicago coach in Game 2 with his team down 3-1 and making no effort to get Belfour off the ice for an extra attacker. Noonan, Sutter, Roenick and Larmer stretched out as the forward. On defense, Chelios on the left, Smith on the right. Francis and Sutter one more time on a face-off. Chelios takes in to say something to Sutter. Now he'll talk to Roenick.
Yeah, Roenick was jabbing at Ulf Samuelsson. I think he wants him to just concentrate on his face-off.
All starts, some movement on the edge of the circle. And Sutter has already tipped his hand. He made the same play on the draw, kicks the puck. Off Noonan, it comes back to Chelios. Chelios into the corner for Sutter. Francis trying to tie him up. Chelios has jumped in on the play as well. What a battle here. Chelios and Murphy. And Chelios is all over Murphy. Puck goes to Larmer. Back to Steve Smith. Big shot to a screen. It's blocked by Tocchet. Up ahead of Lemieux. They can't get the puck to him.
That might have been a mistake. Oh, here we go. Now Chelios is all over Murphy, deep in the Pittsburgh zone. Yeah, he's just going to go. Look at this. Look at this.
Oh, man. We have talked about the Pittsburgh discipline in the past, and Chelios has just unwound.
There goes any advantage that the Hawks could have hoped for. Well, Larry Murphy gave Chelios a rough ride, but it's no different than any ride Chris Chelios would have given anybody else in the same situation. When the play went into the corner, Murphy was cross-checking Chelios from behind and really threw him off, but his intention was in as Chelios took the bait. And after the fact, now this is when the play is coming up ice, Tocchet tried to get it to Mario Lemieux. Look, Chelios, he just absolutely went after Larry Murphy. Tom Barrasso is coming out to try to help because nobody else is helping him.
This with 30.1 seconds left in the game. 30 and 1/10 seconds. Chelios is finished as a result of this. Boy, he had Murphy as a target and just wouldn't give up.
Oh, there's a spear. And then Chelios right to him, smash in the face, then a cross-check in the back of the neck. I guess Don Koharski hadn't seen the first few. Well, we've seen Chris Chelios at his best in this series, and we've also seen him at his worst.
Major penalty has gone up on the board against Chris Chelios.
5 minutes for fighting in a game misconduct at 19:29. Blackhawk penalty.
Larry Murphy was willing to take it all. He just kept turning his back, And that has been part of the Penguins' plan. Not that Larry Murphy would drop his gloves anyway, but even Ulf Samuelsson and Rick Tocchet have done the same thing in this series.
Chelios is gone. Announcement was a major penalty for fighting and a game misconduct penalty. With 30 and 1/10 seconds left in Game 3, regulation time. Pittsburgh leading 1-0.
Eddie Belfour is standing in an open door on the bench. I imagine it will close with 30 seconds to go, but there goes the Hawks man advantage that they had. By pulling Belfour, they will only be able to have 5 skaters now.
Steve Smith leaves. Scotty Bowman has Mario Lemieux, Ron Francis, Rick Tocchet, Larry Murphy, and Ulf Samuelsson together. For Chicago, it's going to be Sutter, Larmer, Graham, Roenick, and Noonan. All 5 forward. Face-off will be in the center ice area. That's where the puck was when referee Koharski blew the whistle, with Chelios all over Larry Murphy. Game being delayed momentarily for the removal of some debris. The only goal of the game at the 15:26 mark of the first period. That's all that's gotten by that Eddie the Eagle helmet and Eddie Belfour. 20 shots tonight from the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Hawks have had 27 shots on goal. Haven't found a way to beat Tom Barrasso. Goal by Kevin Stevens. This is 12th. There's Kevin at the bench.
Well, you can see that he has paid a price in this game. He has been hit in the face twice with sticks. The first one he tried to draw a penalty in the first period. The one in the third period that we didn't have a chance to show you resulted in the scraped nose that he has. No penalty was called on that one either. It's tough to see it all, but Kevin Stevens has paid the price.
Said at the outset how only 3 teams ever come from a 2-0 deficit in games in the championship round. Only one time has a team come from a 3-0 deficit 50 years ago.
Whoa, man, somebody just threw a bottle out onto the ice. Hope it's a plastic bottle.
See the note in the Toronto Maple Leafs, 1942 against the Detroit Red Wings after getting down 3 games to none. Toronto came back to win. Montreal down 2-0. Back to win the best of 7 series.
Almost time for security to start doing their thing here, and for somebody to make an announcement, because what the fans have done for the last 5 minutes, and here it goes again. They wait till the men clean the ice up that have come out with the shovels, and as soon as they get off, they start throwing more stuff. These guys know what they are up against, not only in the last 30 seconds, but should they not pull this one out?
Now we're set for the face-off. Francis and Larmer on the draw. Chicago, remember, shorthanded. They pulled the goaltender, and that long dump in by Lemieux is wide. That'll be an icing against Pittsburgh.
I'm kind of surprised that Mario Lemieux tried that. And I guess if anybody has license to try it, it is him. But as soon as you miss, the face-off comes back down. The one advantage the Penguins have right now is that the net is empty at the Hawks end, and Chris Chelios is off for a major. So the Blackhawks only have 5 skaters to the Penguins' 5. So you can chance a face-off in your own end a little easier, but still.
Mike Keenan taking a little time, setting up Noonan, Sutter, Graham, Roenick.
Gosh, interesting here. The one guy back that Mike Keenan has is Jeremy Roenick with the ligament damage. We'll see if he can get enough on it if he gets it to get it through or to the net.
It'll be up to Brent Sutter to win the faceoff from Ron Francis. Ball start. Several times tonight, Sutter has anticipated Gerard Gauthier putting the puck in play and miscalculated. This time it's dropped. Sutter does get it back to Jeremy Roenick. Comes in off the right wing board. Sutter is right across the front. And Noonan tips it toward the corner. It's loose behind the net. Sutter kicking at it. And Sutter can't get it out in front. 13 seconds left. It's cleared by the Penguins. And racing after his pocket. He'll pick it up with 8 seconds left. Pulls up. Looks at the empty net. And can't get it by. What a nice move by Noonan. And now it's loose in front again. And this game is all over, and it will go into the book as a 1-0 shutout for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Well, it wasn't pretty, but it's good enough to give the Pittsburgh Penguins a 3-0 series lead. Tom Barrasso getting the congratulations of his teammates. He's the man credited with the shutout as the Penguins take an even greater stranglehold on the Stanley Cup. 3-0 up, just one more win will do it for them. Can they win it in Game 4? You can see that on Tuesday morning at 1:30 live here on Screen Sport. We'll be back in Chicago Stadium 1:30 tomorrow morning for that one to see if the Penguins can wrap it up or whether the Blackhawks can rally and make a series of it. But for now, bye-bye.